The family of Giuseppe Ulleri, known as Joe, spoke of their devastation following the conclusion of a 5-day hearing which concluded there had been failures in his care which contributed to his death. The Ulleri family say their beloved Joe, 61, died in the most horrendous way. Joe's father passed away just weeks ago without getting closure. Hello, wonderful people. I'm Jamie Buck from Wonderbot. And here is Doctors refuse to feed Down syndrome man. 19 days later, the cops get a sickening call. Before we begin, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos. An inquest jury found Joe passed away following a failure in his overall care while being looked after at the Manchester Royal Infirmary, MRI, in 2016. Staff wrongfully nursed him in a lying down position and failed to provide him with adequate nutrition, the court heard. This constituted neglect, a jury foreman told the hearing at Manchester Coroner's Court on Friday. Bosses at MRI said the care Joe received fell well below its standards and said they have implemented new measures in light of his tragic death. Joe's brothers Giovanni and Peter said they hope Joe's case will be a catalyst for change in the way people with learning disabilities are cared for in hospital. The inquest earlier heard Joe was nonverbal and had Down syndrome and learning difficulties. Here's Giuseppe Ulleri, known as Joe, in hospital. He was born in Bolton, but raised in South Manchester with his fiery and loving Italian family. He lived happily in an assisted care facility, La Arche in Withington, but a fall in the night in February 2016 sparked a catalog of events that ended his death on March 25, 2016. Joe was admitted to hospital in February after care staff discovered he had fallen, the inquest heard. Doctors didn't realize the extent of his injuries and discharged him, despite the fact that he had fractured his wrist and hip and had broken vertebrae in his neck. Concerned staff at La Arche took Joe back to the hospital the following day and he was readmitted. He remained there until he died of aspiration pneumonia, a condition where bits of food or saliva are inhaled into the lungs and cause infection. The court heard Joe suffered dramatic weight loss after not being fed for 19 days in hospital. At the start of his admission, he weighed 56 kilograms. By the time he died, he was just 44 kilograms. The lack of nutrition increased his risk of infection, the court heard. Joe was not provided with adequate pain medication at MRI, the inquest heard. He was on paracetamol for his injuries to begin with. A doctor told a support worker a normal person would have received a full femoral block for the pain. Joe was nursed lying down most of the time due to a miscommunication on his medical records, the inquest was told. Joe here as a baby. The court heard that may have affected his breathing and led to aspiration pneumonia. An independent expert told the court Joe could have lived longer had hospital staff reviewed his antibiotics and put him on stronger medication to cure the pneumonia. The inquest heard an email was sent by Chris Hazelhurst, a social worker, to Sheila Mooney, who was responsible for safeguarding at the hospital. Mr. Hazelhurst raised concerns about the standard of Joe's care, including nutrition and pain relief. Yet those concerns were never communicated to the surgeon overseeing his care, Sanat Shah, the court was told. The jury, returning a narrative verdict on Friday, March 29th, said Joe received inadequate nutrition plus delays to procedures to resolve his condition. Despite the fact that fractures were treated appropriately, there was no consideration of the balance of the short-term risk of aspiration against the long-term risk of the hip fracture not healing correctly, the jury foreman said. Delivering a narrative conclusion, the foreman said Giuseppe Ulleri was admitted to hospital following a fall. During his stay there, a failure in his overall care, specifically nursing him in a supine position, and a failure to provide adequate nutrition. This constituted neglect. Giuseppe Ulleri contracted aspiration pneumonia and passed away on March 20, 2016. The failures in care contributed to Giuseppe Ulleri's death. The medical cause of the death was recorded as aspiration pneumonia and pulmonary embolism. During the inquest, Joe's devastated brothers Giovanni and Peter Ulleri described him as a gift from God. Giovanni said their father Pietro died 3 weeks ago, without knowing the full details of what happened to his son. Not only was he thoroughly neglected, he was starved for 19 days. Joe's brother Giovanni, reading a statement on behalf of the Ulleri family, said, "Our brother was the kindest and gentlest soul, yet he was allowed to die in the most horrendous way." Not only was he thoroughly neglected, he was starved for 19 days in hospital and denied proper pain management. Joe's entire preventable and premature death came as a result of the catastrophic failures from the Manchester Royal Infirmary, who were supposed to be caring for him. Giovanni, who broke down in tears after the inquest concluded, added, "Joe's case needs to be a catalyst for change. There are too many Joes, although often the premature deaths remain unreported and uninvestigated. All too many people with learning disabilities are treated as second-class citizens by the NHS and end up dying from indifference. The NHS and society as a whole needs to learn from Joe's death to ensure nobody else with learning disability suffers in the way that he did. If we get healthcare right for people with learning disabilities, then we are likely to improve it for everyone." Nina Alley, a partner from Hodge, Jones & Allen who represents the family, added, "It is crucial that changes are brought across the NHS to ensure cases like Joe's never happen again. The care provided to Joe fell well below our standards." Professor Jane Edelson, Joint Group Medical Director at Manchester University NHS Foundation Trust, which runs MRI, said, "We wish to again offer our condolences and deepest sympathies to Joe's family. The Trust accepts fully the conclusion and findings of the coroner following the outcome of the inquest. The care provided to Joe fell below our standards, and for this, we apologize sincerely. Following Joe's sad death, we immediately launched an investigation to examine the care he received, and since then, we have implemented a number of measures to ensure that this does not happen again. Through the implementation of a detailed action plan, we have strengthened consultant leadership and continuity of care on the unit, undertaken extensive work on nutrition and hydration, and focused on how we care for our patients who have a learning disability. This work has concluded improvements to strengthen our processes for monitoring and supporting nutrition and hydration for patients and establishing pathways for patients with complex nutritional needs, so their individual needs are regularly reviewed and that their specific requirements are identified and addressed. Nutrition specialist nurses continue to provide bespoke training for staff, and our work to continuously improve our patients' experience in this area is ongoing. In view of the inquest findings, the Trust will re-examine its investigation and would like to extend an invitation to Joe's family to discuss this further to ensure that all issues are considered fully and all improvements implemented. We are committed to ensuring that lessons are learned to improve patient care.